Sejad Ademaj studies directing at the Film Academy in Baden-Württemberg. He is the son of a Montenegrin Roma family and has lived in Germany since 1991. Due to the very great success of his second-year film 15 Minutes, which premiered at the 4th International Film Festival in 2022 and won several short film awards, he was offered a transfer to the scenic directing program.
I started my studies in 2020 at Film Academy Baden-Württemberg in Ludwigsburg, and I started screenwriting and then did my film 15 Minutes in my second year. And that's like a workshop or like a class where everyone from the screenwriting class and also other faculties can join and can experiment on film. So that was the case. I couldn't do films like the directing class, so I had only this chance, this shot. So I took it and I developed the script like half a year ago from that point on. And then in winter semester and then in summer semester I shot in 2022. And then, yeah, this whole class was more or less very free. So you could also, like, the topic is very free. You can choose which topic. And then for me, this topic was very personal because I was 3 times almost deported as a child in Freiburg, in my hometown, with my family. So this topic of deportation and not belonging to Germany and not being able to integrate in the society is a topic which haunts me like almost my whole life. And then I came across about a Montenegrin family also, because I'm also Montenegrin and have a Roma background. And I saw this documentary about this Roma family which was in Hamburg, and the daughter was born in Germany. So I thought at that point I wasn't born in Germany, but she was born in Germany, and she was deported because her parents has to go. So it was so tragic for me to see how Germany still treats Romani people, although they know we came from war and we came out of certain reasons. And still we are objected as refugees coming only for economical reasons. So that was so tragic and reminded me of my own history, because at that point I was like at Film Academy and I was trying to be like all these white rich kids and trying to fit in. And then I remembered, wait a minute, I'm running away from these topics and from my past and trying to achieve the social ladder to gain a new level or new status, but never like really talk to myself or could cope with this situation. It was always like put away, and because my parents always pushed us to be better and to be like the best we can. So this was always the main focus. So then I decided to do that, to pick this topic and to tell a story about this deportation, and not to make people feel like, oh, Germany is like very bad, but to just show how bad situations can happen that fast, because people sleep, they don't know when police come, so they will reach you at like 3 in the morning or like 4 or 5 in the morning, and you sleep and you don't have any chance, so you have to go. So yeah, and it's very brutal. So then I decided to go to German police to do a lot of research and to ask how are these deportations, how these deportations are really in real life. And the deportation groups, they're special German police groups. Their only task is from 2 or 1 in the morning to go around, like in Baden-Württemberg, for example, and the close area to Bayern, to only get the families out of their homes and bring them to the airport. And they have a German law that says they have this amount of time to pack their things, to drink something, to get clean, whatever, but they don't tell them. So they don't tell you, oh, you have like 2 or 3 hours to pack everything, they tell you, oh, you only have 15 minutes. So they put them under pressure to make them functional, because you're so distressed in this moment, to make them functional, to be like, okay, I have to grab my bag, I have to put my papers in my bag, and then I have to go. That's why they put a lot of pressure, and also they are allowed to force you. So they are allowed to hurt you if there's a chance of you escaping or resisting. So there's a lot of violence, like violence physically, but also mentally. So you saw that migrant police officer. So they told me also about migrant or German police officers with a migration background, which tend to be very racist because they try to be over German, like to overachieve something. And so they be even more aggressive and more, in this psychological warfare. They try to manipulate the people so much and to make them fear German police. So there's these racist police officers, there's these migrant police officers, but then also there are sometimes very nice police officers, but they are not allowed to show any emotions, they are not allowed to show any sympathy, because they are told, you're the German police, you're only like a little part of the system. So you're not judging, you're going in, you're taking them out, that's your job, and shut up, and that's it. So it was very hard for me also to listen to all these horror stories, because they told me about stories where fathers were throwing out their kids out of the window and to help them to escape, or they would cut their wrists and try to kill themselves, or a lot of terrible stuff. So I was then, of course, gathering all these informations and trying to fit it in a short film. And we had a lot of discussions at Film Academy. Can you show violence? How much violence can you show? Because at the end I wanted to show also the blood of the daughter when she kills herself. But then we had a lot of arguments about should we really show it? Isn't it better to leave it out and leave the rest to the viewers? And yeah, but that's how I came across this result in the end. I mean, it was a lot of talking, a lot of also talking with people who actually like my family or people I know that had gone through these very hurtful moments of being almost deported or being deported. So yeah.
What was the response of the police when you approached them to do this kind of research?
Yeah, they were very suspicious. They didn't want to talk to me at first, but the police in Ludwigsburg, they know the Film Academy, so they know that the people there, they do film and they know what we do. So I had like to have like 2 or 3 conversations with them to make them feel okay. I'm not like bashing on German police, but I'm trying to get a perspective here. So it was very, it was not welcoming. So also when we went there, I went with my producer, with the German police officer, the women, and then we were like 3 people there, and there were like 2 officers sitting there and always watching out what the other one says. And always like correcting or being very on the surface with everything, not to dive in too much. So they were very good prepared. They had like lists and documents where they had their answers prepared almost. So yeah.
Okay. Did they watch the film?
They watched it and they liked it. Yeah, they said it's very, very realistic.
I would be interested because I think they don't have to be afraid of bashing. They're bashing themselves. I mean, you have the whole picture. You don't bash them.
Yeah.
But how is it about the phone? Because this issue, they are not allowed to call anybody anymore after they are in the apartment. Yeah. It's like this.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to call anybody. Okay.
Because that's also a case where people can call social workers
Okay.
lawyers, whatever,
Yeah.
and they had so many problems with that. That's why they tend to say, no, you're not allowed to
So
talk
the
to
moment they're in the apartment, it's not
Yeah.
possible. Okay.
It can also not escape, actually,
Seems
because
against human rights.
Hmm?
Seems against human rights.
yeah, there's a lot of things against human rights, but it's German law. So, yeah, but outside of the home, if you would escape, there would be like 5 or maybe 6 or sometimes even less, but like
catch you.
cars and
Yeah.
police officers. So you cannot escape, because if you run outside, there will be everyone standing outside waiting for you. So
Yeah.
there's no possibility
And if they
to.
don't open the door, there's, like they have to, the police can open the door.
They can also open the door. They can come and they have like these people from the Schlüssel
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unternehmen.
Locksmith.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they can come inside of your home, so you will sleep. You will not recognize anything, so you will not even hear them. Sometimes they just appear.
Oh.
Yeah,
May I ask what was the budget of this movie?
2,000 euros.
Wow.
It's very.
I mean, it's the film academy.
Wow.
It's the film academy, so they have the equipment and the crew.
Yeah, we have the equipment, but also the budget. The budget is very tight, because if you start in film academy, you don't get that much budget, but your budget grows from year to year. So
And if you not have the material, how much you need approximately budget? If you not have the material,
if I don't have the cameras and everything,
how much to have?
it's very expensive. It would be like 15 or 18,000 euros.
Yeah.
I have two
Yeah.
questions for you. The first one is, again, thank you for this, for being so open about your experience and how much of you is in this film. Did the Film Academy provide you with any psychological support, considering that this is so close to your story and the actors, I believe you told me when we were having lunch, are also Romani?
No, there's no psychological support. There's only there's like back feedback loops where you like talk to your mentor or your professor and talk about script. But they don't ask you how are you. They ask you, but they know we're filmmakers, so they expect us to have like a certain distance from. Because I can watch the film and be like, okay, it's a film, but to viewers sometimes it's emotional. But I was part of the situation and part of the filmmaking, so to me it's sometimes I get very emotional when I watch it. It depends on the day, but I can of course have a step back and say it's all right, and I can, like an actor and actress would go into their role, you know, after they shoot, they also know, okay, I have to leave now my role, and I have to leave now my role as a director and step back, and now I'm finished with my work. And
I mean, that would be something to consider, I suppose, since we now have intimacy coordinators, which are incredibly important.
yeah,
Maybe some sort of additional support with films with themes like these.
sure.
My second question was, your lead actress is incredible.
Thank you.
How did you work with her to achieve that performance? How much was her raw talent, and how much did you direct her
Yeah.
to certain things that you wanted?
So just to clarify also how I got to her, I had like a special task for this film, because I wanted to cast everyone with Romani background, of course, for the Romani roles. I searched like crazy, like on Instagram, all the casting platforms, and we have our own casting office at Film Academy. So we are not alone in searching like diverse roles, but even my casting director, she was not able to find any actresses that fit. So I went out with my producer and found this young actress, newcomer from Gypsy Queen, from that boxer film with Alina Sherban, and she was the daughter, and she's from Austria, and she has this look, and she's very emotional, and she can get into this situations very quick. And I casted her, and I had her, and then 3 weeks before, she suddenly disappeared, and then she like ghosted me, and I was like, okay, fuck, 1 month away, what are we doing now? And then I was searching and I couldn't find any Romani actresses. It was so hard, really. And then also the same happened with the mother. So the mother said, okay, I will do it. She was from Austria also, from Vienna. She's a professional actress. I will not name her, but she was booked. And then she called my producer 10 days before and said, okay, I will not come because you didn't book me a flight. So this happened like very early before the shoot, and we were like, okay, what the fuck are we doing now? And we were, lost. And then somehow Zeyhun Demirov, who has a Romani background, he's playing Mirko, the racist police guy. He talked to me like, you're Romani also. I will help you. I'm like he's a professional actor. He doesn't need to do like short films because he lives from like filmmaking now. But he says, we have to support each other, us Romani people, and it's so important. Then he talked to me about Samira Breuer, who played in The Discounter. It's a very famous German comedy series. And he told me, look her up. She's the perfect one. And I saw her, and she has a German Afro-American background. And I saw her at Tain, and she looked like from the skin and everything, she could easily be a Romani, but she had like this huge Afro hair, and I was like, if I cast her, maybe people will say, how can you do that? Like, cast someone else and not your own people. And then I was like in my inner conflict, can I do it? Are we allowed to? And then I was so desperate, and I talked to her and I asked her if we can like make the hair very straight. And then of course she said yes, because she was very open about the project and she loved the script. But sometimes actors will say no because it's not cool for them, and I could totally understand that. But she was really like saving us. And then from that moment she was picked, and she was said in her background as she's actually not an actress who went to acting school. She went to Lee Strasberg seminar in New York, I think, and she's been there 1 year. So she has this background of somehow acting, and she did classes. And in the casting, that casting lasted 10 minutes. It was so crazy. She came back from New York, I think, or somewhere far, and she was so jet lagged. But she even, for the casting, did like a lot of Romani sentences, which she later on had to cut out because she was not good enough. But I had so much Romani language in the short film, and she even did that very good. And then she like had so much, like her range of emotions were so big and so good that I talked to my producer and muted the Zoom call, and then I said, we have to give her the role now, because if we don't take her, we don't have anyone, and she's really good. And then she said yes, fortunately, so she saved the film actually, because if she wouldn't have done it, so we couldn't do it. So yeah, that's how we came across her. And the mother, Simone Laurentino dos Santos, is actually a Brazilian actress, and she played in one of my films in my bachelor's studies. And so also I had some backup actresses that I asked, and then she came across, and then Neboj Šamaković is with Zeyhun the only Romani actor for the father, and I also was very lucky to have at least two with the background, and yeah, and then it was okay, it was fine. But yeah, but you cannot count on, like that's also a topic we will later on discuss, you cannot count on only people from your background will fit everything, because sometimes it just don't work, and it's faith, sometimes people cross or path cross and it works, and sometimes it won't work, so yeah.
I have a question about Romanes and understanding in different countries, since a lot of Roma, like Sintis, have been here for a long time. How do they understand, for instance, Roma from Romania or Montenegro? Do they understand each other? Because I've seen different kind of...
It's very different, yeah.
Like sometimes they were separated, like blacks, Romani, this and that. Sometimes it's like from the groups that Kaldara speak like this, some like that. So it was really hard to find something on that, like in the literature. So.
It's also for the people from the Balkans. I would say like Yugoslavia. They understand each other. The Romanes is quite the same and understandable. But for me, when I hear like people from Romania speaking, it's very hard to understand. But because they have a very strong accent, or from Polish Romani background, so it's very hard to understand sometimes. But also there are some German Romani Sinti people. I sometimes catch up words and understand what they are saying. For example, last night, Kuzengos, a German Sinti guy, talking also in Romanes, I understood a lot of words and sentences, but in the context, I understand it in the context, but not like, okay, he's saying this and that word, because we are mixing Serbian language. Yeah, we're mixing Serbian language with Romani language, as like Romanian people do with their language, or like Polish people. So it's very regional. So it's not that easy.
But if
but
you
my-
for
my-
instance, in Romania, and there's different groups, and like Lovara, and I don't know.
I cannot answer that because I don't have that background. But I think they
But
also
okay,
have.
this
Maybe
one.
you can answer that. How it's in Romania with your dialects.
By example, I come actually from two types of category of Roma. When I say category, it's about profession, mostly in my case. My father is from Ursari, which in German bear, or the English bear, yeah, beer.
That's
Bear,
okay.
is animal. Actually, some Roma of this community, they were actually training the bears, like a circus, like entertainment, which I don't like it somehow. Actually, it's sad for the animals. I mean, the background. And in Bucharest, some of the Roma people from this thing, they mixed it with too much Romanian language with Romanes, which is somehow, for me, my perspective is like not really Romanes. Mostly it's like half Romanian, half Romanes. And my father, she's my mother, she's a Leieșița, which like my grandfather, they were working like with the cork.
Baskets.
Yeah, they create baskets from different things and working on the fields, which somehow my mother, she was speaking. Actually, I feel more confident, and it was more like Romani language than my father was speaking. But I believe I understand Merjan. It's a friend of me and also working in an organization, and it's like from Bulgaria, from Macedonia, which is Yugoslav, and I still understand him. I believe that I can treat like an idea. But when you speak like Roma people, they take so many words from Romanian language, and they say they have different dialect. It's not a dialect actually. They don't know. Some people don't know Romanes, and then
Yeah. So you see, it's
it's
very.
fine.
Spain is
Excuse.
more
they find an
complicated.
excuse that they know, like it's actually no.
So what do I do in the show?
Well, it's not easy to understand each other, but we get along. So sometimes if I like hear people from Bulgaria or some other place, I understand them and I could engage with them and have somehow a conversation. But it's very hard.
But I think it's also based on the country, how each country respect or appreciate or receive the Roma community, right? If we think about Spain, where people, they were cut their tongue and they were prohibited or forbidden to speak the Romani language, then it's understandable that
They cut it out.
most of the people, they become like integrated with force somehow so much, and they don't speak Romanes.
Yeah.
But they speak like a dialect of the Spanish Romani. But in Romania, for my case, I think Roma people, they speak really well Romanes.
And is it common that like your parents from different groups like married each other?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but maybe this conversation we can have in the break or later on. I think for the film, it's also important to ask yourself, why do you want this specific language? And this we will talk about in the next exercise. And we have Isabella who wanted to say something.
I want to get up. This is good film.
Thank you.
My question is about, I really appreciate the script blended with your background and the very sensitive topic. I'm a jurist and I work on migration law. So, why did you choose in the script such a sensitive thing like suicide? And in my culture, so many of us
It's okay.
And in our Roma culture, usually Roma, sorry for the stereotype, but the Roma girls have to be more supportive, and usually I would have expected, to see this, that she's going to support the family, but instead the focus is on her, how she takes this traumatic experience. So why did you choose to create this discrepancy between how Roma girls in communities are portrayed and such a sensitive topic as suicide?
Yeah, it's very specific to my culture or my Romani background. So I grew up with my sister being very open and having a lot of freedom. But also I know, like, my cousins from my uncle's side, they are very forced to like behave in this very strict manner. But I grew up with women being very free, very open. Also, my mother is a very, I would say, a feminist, but she doesn't know that she's a feminist. She's very open and very strong, and she will fight every man if there's a discussion. So I grew up with this 50-50 on this eye level, that Romani women, they don't have to be like this cliche, traditional, put them away a kind of manner, and I don't support that, and I don't see that a lot in my family, because we grew up in Germany and we have this, of course, mixture of Yugoslavian culture, but also Germany and Romani mixing now, like three cultures in one. So I can only talk about my experience and how I see Romani women in my family, in my culture, because of course in Romania maybe it's different, the view on that, but I don't see it in my personal spaces. So that's why. And I know that hurting yourself is also a topic. Also, I would never do that. And in our culture, of course, it's also not seen very well. But like I said, I went to German police and I had the talks, and there are a lot of like people that are killing themselves because they have no choice left. So what can you do when you're like, because I don't know if you guys know the situation in ex-Yugoslavia, because I think in Romania, you guys, they know that you are gypsies, but here in Germany, they don't see us sometimes as Romani people. So sometimes it comes out because of our skin color, whatever, but when we know in Yugoslavia that the slums and everything is so bad, and these people try everything to get away from that misery. So that's why people don't want to go back there. They know if we go back there, the Albanians will mistreat us. They will rape or kill us or whatever. The Serbian people are also very racist. So where are you going there? It's hell on earth. I went to the ghetto where my family lives still to this day, and it's very, very strict, where like Albanians only live, where only Bosnians or Muslims live, and then Serbians. So you're not allowed to go in these kind of areas, because they know exactly with your color or Tsigan, what are you doing here? So you are not even allowed to speak up if there's anything. So I think in Romania, for example, it's very obvious, and I feel like you have some kind of, you reached some kind of status, but in Yugoslavia, still because of the war, it's still so tragic sometimes when you go and look what people have to suffer. It's very tragic. So that's why I chose to have her decide that she will kill herself. Yeah, it's the last straw she has. Yeah.
I'm wondering about your experience as with the crew. I mean, you mentioned a little bit within the context of the film university, and I understand that that it was like quite diverse in front of the camera. But how was it behind the camera? And did you like, as I don't notice all the names in the credits, but do you feel like it was a lot of pressure on you to this burden of representation, or did you feel supported? How did you negotiate the process?
I felt supported, and I really, because I have like a strong mother character, I have a strong daughter character, I wanted actually to have a woman as a camera woman. I didn't wanted a camera man, because I felt like I'm a man, I'm writing this, and I have to like find a way to make it like 50-50, or like to make the emotion more detailed. And I think like sometimes women as camera women are so different than men. So if I had shot this with a man, it would be maybe very aggressive or sometimes very upfront. But she had like this little dance. We created this little dance of the camera, would follow her, and this plan sequence was then initiated. So I'm very lucky to have like Terry, my camera woman, to have found her, because that also was a very hard thing to find German camera people at film school that liked this story, because a lot of them were like, yeah, we can talk maybe later over a cafe, and then maybe let's see. So a lot of people said no, they don't want to do anything with this topic, because they were not interested in doing such topics. And I have like Turkish people, colleagues from me, they also have this problem. They have like a topic and they go out to the German colleagues, but they don't want to do your film. They don't care. They want to do their films with their German friends they hang out with. They don't want to do the films with us. So it's very hard to achieve somehow a team that supports you. But I did it somehow. I really like went to everyone and talked to them and said, this is very important. It's also a political thing with the new law saying that people can now live here in Germany when they are that much in that time in Germany, living like 5 or 8 years, I think. In Germany, they can get their passport or their residency. So it was a very urgent topic for me. And still, you couldn't find like that easy people. So the camera woman was the first one, then the producer, who's also with a special background, I would say, because he's East German. So East Germans are also very, how do I say, mistreated in German society. They are not like on the same level like West Germans, because they're very mistreated because of the past. And he understood the story as an East German, I would say even more than West German colleagues, which I grew up with. So it was very strange to have like an East German producer at the beginning, but he even understood the culture of Romani culture and the story behind it more than the other ones, which was very odd at the beginning. But in the end, it somehow makes sense, because I come also from like this socialist parents growing up in the East. So we have, I think, culturally, we are closer to each other, like us both groups, than with the West Germans. Yeah.
If I may, like a quick follow-up, because I also myself, I went to a German film school, and I have friends who went to the Ludwigsburg as well. And my observation is like, if you're from not German and you're filming somewhere abroad, like in the desert, people usually tend to want to work with you. So do you feel like it is a thing when you're doing, because at the end it's also a German story happening in Germany, and maybe it makes people here confront with the reality of what is happening here. So do you feel like there's more aversion to these stories and working on these stories?
I didn't get the question.
Well, if I paraphrase, I just feel like there are certain things, if it's a story, let's say if you're not German, we're in a film school, and you're filming somewhere exotic, quote unquote, outside of Germany. My experience that people, like students, want to be part of the project, are interested, versus topics that are closer to home.
Can be. I don't know.
You mean that filming, for example, with Syrian people would be easier to find a crew in Germany than filming with people who are nearer to home?
My experience, I mean, at least like also filming, let's say it's a story in the desert in Jordan, there's so much interest.
Yeah, because it's about exoticism.
Yes.
It's about tokenism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the topic.
Yeah, maybe that can be, but it was not that easy to do that film. So I'm very glad it happened, and we somehow managed to do it. So yeah. What can I else?
We are
Yeah.
a bit
Finish?
done with time. Yes,
Okay,
thank you very
yeah,
much. Thank you.